We have MGM announcing a new partner, scammers using airline phone numbers to take advantage of people, and how an airline might be scamming you if you're a points person. This and more in today's credit card and points roundup. As you can tell, we're currently not at home, and hopefully you don't mind. Let me know if you know where we are. Big favors to give us a thumbs up to help the algorithm, and if you are new, to consider subscribing. First up is MGM and Marriott announcing a new partnership. This is only a few days after the Hyatt and MGM breakup from last week. The program will fully launch in October of 2023 and will encompass 17 of MGM resorts. The crazy part to me is that this represents 40,000 rooms. The MGM collection refers to the 17 hotels that will be part of this program. In addition to this, Bellagio will be part of the Luxury Collection, Aria and Autograph, Park MGM Tribute, and Cosmo Still Autograph. 8 other MGM properties will just be part of the MGM collection. I am a bit surprised about Nomad Las Vegas. The reason for this is because Nomad is pretty expensive. It's the luxury part of Park MGM. Call me crazy, but I think it could have easily fitted into either Autograph or maybe even Luxury Collection. Also, 5 non-Vegas properties will join the MGM collection as well. I am surprised by the timing of all of this because it feels pretty short. If I was Marriott or MGM's marketing team, I think I would announce this in September. Case in point, a lot of the answers they're giving out right now are that they are still waiting for the agreement for the official launch. Basically, there is a partnership, but they can't really tell us what it is yet. A bit of me does wonder whether they did this fast press release in order to kind of ease the speculation. Note that this is also a very long-term deal. It's an exclusive 20-year strategic licensing agreement. In comparison, the prior agreement of Hyatt was only 10 years. Even though the timing of the announcement seems weird, I'm not surprised by the move. Back when the Hyatt agreement was signed, the landscape was pretty different. The prior deal of Hyatt was in 2013, and 2 years afterwards in 2015, Marriott acquired Starwood. This acquisition allowed Bonvoy to consolidate more than 5,800 hotels worldwide. In fact, 1 in 15 hotel rooms globally are Bonvoy. If anything, that's a pretty good reason for MGM to want to partner with Marriott. Right now, Marriott is the whale and has global reach. Also, $22 billion a year in sales compared to Hyatt's $6 billion. It's the Marriott Bonvoy brand, the platform, and the 18 million members. That's the value of the business. Okay, so what does this mean for us, and what's our play here? There's a lot of speculation that MGM did this to avoid status matching and due to all the globalists. If you look at Cosmo as a data point, then it does kind of make sense. My argument though is that Cosmo was in an in-between state, and that's not really that representative. Also, that's not what the PR department has been signaling. The idea is that this is a robust relationship rather than just a traditional franchising agreement. I'd be pretty shocked if they didn't status match, given that they are allowing people to link accounts. Even more so, you'll be able to exchange MGM points to Bonvoy and vice versa. Probably a bad transfer rate, but still good to have options. Also, the fact that they're talking about experiences, lounge access, and other benefits. In a lot of ways, this feels like MGM and Marriott announcing their engagement and that they're getting married soon, compared to MGM and Hyatt, where it felt like they were more just so dating. MGM has 5 levels, but for our purpose, really just 3. The reason being that anyone that signs up gets Sapphire, and Noor is invite only. Also does require a pretty decent amount of gambling. So pretty much just Pearl, Gold, and Platinum. The main draw of Pearl is free self-parking. For Gold, you get that, and also free valet parking. In addition, Gold lets you skip a bunch of lines, including nightclubs and a ton of restaurants. As a deal seeker, I'd say that there's 2 main draws of Gold. You get priority check-in, which is nice, but number 1 is going to be enhanced room upgrades based on availability. So room upgrades, no suites, but still nice. Number 2, and most importantly, is going to be resort fees waived. We've talked about resort fees in prior videos last week and how they can be pretty draining, especially if you are an economy traveler. Even if you are dropping a bag of money, I don't think you'd want to pay an extra 40 or 50 bucks per day for amenities that you're not using. Last week, when Hyatt was still doing a match, Discoverist matched over to Pearl and Explorist and Globalist to MGM Gold. On the MGM side, if you had Pearl, that would go to Discoverist, Gold, Platinum, and Noor would go to Explorist. With Marriott, they can do exactly the same thing, but they can also take it up a notch and make it more extreme. So right now, Marriott has 5 published levels, with Platinum being probably the sweet spot for most of us. I know a lot of people are hoping that they match Marriott Gold with MGM Gold, but I just don't see that happening because they hand out Marriott Gold like candy. For Bonvoy Silver, you have 3 current cards that give you the status, and then 2 legacy ones. For Bonvoy Gold, you have 3 current ones, including the Bountiful, the Bevy, as well as the Amex Platinum, and also the Legacy Ritz-Carlton card. Interestingly, the only way to get Platinum status through a credit card is through the American Express Bonvoy Brilliant. I guess you can get the Ritz-Carlton and then spend your way there, but in terms of just getting a card, it's the Brilliant. Given that everyone has Marriott Gold, this is what I think the match will look like. I think Bonvoy Silver and Gold will match over to Pearl. Bonvoy Platinum will match over to MGM Gold. I think by itself, this is the most likely situation and the most logical. Platinum's the sweet spot. People have it, but not too many people, so it's a way to dangle the carrot. On Marriott's end, it's also a way to sell more Bonvoy Brilliant cards and for people to kind of reach upwards. The problem with moving it too high up to titanium is that it starts to become more unobtainable, and then the perks don't make sense. You can have a nice program, but if it's too high, then no one's going to go for it. If they want to make it interesting, then they could also match Bonvoy Titanium over to MGM Platinum. By itself, not too interesting, but still an option. The most interesting one, and probably least likely, probably below 5%, is going to be Bonvoy Ambassador to MGM Noir. Maybe even down to just 2%, but I think it'd be a smart move. The reason being that for ambassador status, you need to stay 100 nights per year and spend $23,000 on Bonvoy hotels. And that's per year. That's not like you can do it once right now and then have that status for the rest of your life. If you're MGM, then you probably want those people. You could probably match them over to Noir and then just not give them the $1,200 air travel credit and the $500 dining credit. Or you can get it, but you have to gamble. Okay, if you don't get those credits, what's the point? Main draws of Noir, from my understanding, is going to be transportation, as well as access to lounges and even to special restaurants. One of the best examples is going to be the Mansion, which is a restaurant area that you can only get to if you either have status, if you're staying at MGM Skylofts, or you get invited to the Mansion hotels. I thought the food was pretty good, but depends on you. If all of this makes booking Vegas sound way too confusing, like learning how to play Baccarat, then you can do what we normally do. So most of the time, unless it's a crazy event like Taylor Swift where it's crazy busy and prices are inflated, we tend to just book through Amex FHR. You still want to shop around because sometimes certain hotels are going to be more expensive. So for example, Cosmo might be between $250 and $1,000. The difference might not be even anything weird. It might just be that for one of the weekends or one of the days, there's a conference going on at Cosmo and they booked out a lot of the rooms. When available, FHR gets you 12 p.m. check-in, room upgrades that are one level higher than what you booked, breakfast for 2 per night, $100 experience credit per stay, and guaranteed 4 p.m. late checkout. For most of Vegas, if you have mid-level and especially a beginner status, they want you out of that room by 11 and maybe 12. Getting 4 p.m. late checkout just by virtue of booking through the FHR portal and having a platinum card is pretty extraordinary. Plus, if you have 2 people with platinum cards and you don't mind changing hotels and hopping around, you can get a lot of value from that $100 experience credit that is based on a stay. One night counting as a stay. If you are looking at the platinum card, I'd recommend checking Card Match to see if you have the elevated 125K offer. Also, if you are going for the platinum, I'd recommend running numbers and using the calculator that we have to see that you actually get value. The platinum is one of those cards that has a very high annual fee, but also a ton of credits that help offset it. With that said, if you do want to learn about cards, whether this one or pretty much any other card out there, and you want to support the channel, we do have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, but otherwise, using those links is a huge way to support the channel, so thank you guys in advance. Next up, let's move through a lightning round. Super fast circle back to Bonvoy, but if you have to chase Sapphire Reserve, you can status match over to Bonvoy Gold. So you do need to register between July 1st and September 30th of 2023, and all you need to do is log into your Chase account and go to the Benefits tab. Once you register, you're going to have Bonvoy Gold for 3 months. If you do at least 3 paid stays during that 3-month period, then you're going to get status and keep it until February of 2025. If the platinum doesn't make sense, but you still want Bonvoy Gold, then this is a pretty good middle ground. If you're traveling abroad, then you can get up to 10,000 Bonvoy points. You do need to stay at least 2 nights, and you have to book these stays by September 4th, 2023. Make sure to use promotion code MR5. Valid stay period is between June 19th and September 11th, 2023. It's up to 10,000 points. It depends on the brands that you stay at. So either 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, or 10,000. Still though, especially abroad, some of these more expensive hotels are pretty reasonably priced. Let me know if you find any cool deals and I might be joining you. Last up, Moomoo has an offer for 16 free stocks. If you open up an account and deposit 100, you get 5 free stocks and a $50 cash reward. 1,000 is 15 free stocks and $50 cash reward. 5,000, 15 free stocks, $50 cash reward, and 1 share of either Tesla or Expedia. Link down below if you want to check out Moomoo. Moving into a big story, we have scammers once again scamming people using phone numbers. In the past, they were buying keywords, so if you searched for Delta phone number or United phone number, then that's what would pop up. And then if you called that number, they would steal your credit card information and just do charges on it. That was a few months back, and now the game has changed. Do you know what's better than paying money to buy keywords? Just changing the information on Google. So you call them, it sounds like a legitimate call, and they're telling you, hey, either we canceled your flight or something happened, therefore we need to charge you again, we need your credit card information. On one hand, it's pretty easy to contest, but on the other hand, it's still not a fun experience. Funny too, because for some of the fraud that they do, they can actually kind of do it for you and still make it work. So what I mean for this is, let's say you are doing a seat change, and for your ticket, maybe the seat change is free. So technically they could charge you, and you think it's legitimate, they can call on your behalf if they have all your information and actually do that seat change. So in that case, you kind of paid them to call for you, even though you called them. Yeah, just messy. Main takeaway from all of this, double check that you're calling the right numbers, and ideally don't do things over the phone. If you do need to call in, then go to their website and look for the number down below. Last one is a pretty scary one, especially for anyone that uses points. Someone ended up booking a business class ticket from Beijing to Warsaw to Frankfurt back to New York City. They transferred points from Capital One to Airline in order to book with the Star Alliance partner, Lot Polish. Okay, sounds pretty normal, what's the problem? When he got to the airport, he was denied boarding by the local ground crew. The crew had a ton of excuses. So first they said that the flight was booked illegally and he can't use credit card points for these flights. Afterwards they said that you can use points, but only MAL and more points from Lot Polish. The partner points suddenly don't count even though they are part of the same program. When he tried to explain that that wasn't accurate and that there's actually a lot of information that refutes that, they threatened to call the police. I could easily see this affecting me because I've actually pulled out my phone, and I generally don't, but if they're saying something that's nonsense and I'm like, hey, on the Marriott site it says this specific thing, he ended up calling the Lot Polish customer service line in Poland, and the representative agreed that his booking was actually valid. When the phone representative called the Beijing team, they refused to change their stance. This really grinds my gears because it just doesn't make any sense. If corporate's saying that this is fine and everything else is legitimate, why is the ground team being a little annoying? Feels like an overstep and power tripping. Lucky speculates that the reason they turned him away was due to fraud. There's a lot of mileage brokers, and a lot of this happens in China, India, as well as the United States. We've talked about mileage brokers in the past, and it is becoming a pretty big problem. In fact, I've had friends recommend them, and even some of them reaching out to try to partner with me. In theory, it makes a lot of sense. So let's say you have 100,000 Chase points, that's only $1,000, liquid. If you travel though, then that's $1,500 in value. But what if you don't want to travel? In which case you can sell the points to a point broker, and maybe they give it to someone else who wants to travel. If you could sell 100,000 points for $1,500, then it's a win for you. For the broker, what they do is they find another person that actually wants to fly business class. Let's say that person wants to pay $3,500 for that business class seat. Here they take your points, maybe it gets transferred out to Singapore Airlines or one of the other good business or first class products, and it gets redeemed for that person. In that case, the broker ends up making a profit because they're paying you out $1,500, you're happy, and they're charging someone else for first or business for, let's say, $3,500. That's a $2,000 spread, and everyone's happy. So in principle, it works, but the problem being that there's not enough availability. Points and outsized value only works because it is an inefficient market. If every single person who had points were able to receive the maximum value for that transfer partner value, then it just stops making sense. The reason it works and why there's all these different options is because not everyone's after the same thing. Also, the fact that it's against terms and services. Again, I get it and I get why people do it, but it just feels like the brokers end up making the profit, and they're pretty much making that profit because they're taking availability from everyone else who has points who actually wants to use them. Especially because a lot of these brokers do little tricks to lock in that availability to make sure that no one else can get it. With that said though, would love to know what you think about this because maybe I'm alone and I'm the crazy one. Again, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and down below in the description box. If you made it to this point in the video, then leave a fountain emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. Also, let me know why you think we're using a fountain emoji. My question for you guys is, what are your thoughts on the MGM and Marriott partnership? What are your thoughts on point brokers and also people scamming people based off phone numbers? It is 3:28 a.m. and I'm a little bit tired, so hope you guys liked it. Big favor, thumbs up, consider subscribing, but otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Mandy's already asleep.